Hi, everyone, and welcome back to The Leader Journey. Today, joining me is our Business Managing Director, Basil, and we are still talking about COVID-19 and the impact. Welcome, Basil, and thank you for joining me today talking about this. How have these past 6 months been for you in leading a team through a very odd, turbulent time?
I can imagine that it has been quite a difficult time for a lot of companies, as well as for a lot of managers in this period. And I think it starts from the onset of COVID, the impact it had with people initially, with people not knowing what to do, following up with regulations, some countries locking down, some trade fairs being cancelled, travel being restricted, etc., etc. And what that typically did, at least within the group of companies, is that it sent in a wave of uncertainty. And I think the biggest challenge I had, or we had as a company, was to deal with this uncertainty. This filtered and proliferated through the working environment to a certain degree. People were afraid, people were uncertain, they did not know what to do. Some of them had holidays planned, many of them had business trips planned, including myself. Our customers had had issues in terms of purchasing or selling the products that they already purchased or services that they rendered from us. So I think a major chunk was uncertainty, and the biggest challenge we had, or I had, was to bring a sense of calm within the team, but also in the way we conduct our business. It took us a couple of weeks to get to the grips of what's going on and how to deal with it. We followed the governmental regulations or guidelines issued by the Dutch ministry and the Dutch government itself in formulating our working rules, working engagements, and the like. From that level of uncertainty, we were then able to move to a sense of conformity, if I would say so. That helped with us, setting out policies in terms of working. How do you work? Where do you work? The channels we use for working, which translated into digital channels, be it Microsoft Teams or Zoom. Trying to keep everything in play, but working remotely. And from there, all other kinds of actions and reactions came along. It took us about a couple of months, maybe 1 or 2, to get used to the new normal. And in that process, as I said, the biggest achievement that we've had was to ensure that we had a sense of calm within the team, as well as in the way we engaged with our customers, suppliers, stakeholders, business partners, and the like. I think that was the biggest challenge, because once we could get to the sense of calm, I mean, we've got experts, or we've got very dedicated and motivated people and professionals running different areas of their departments, different departments of the company, I'm sorry. And they could take over, and you've already watched some interviews of our product management team, our HR manager, our IT manager, you yourself on the marketing front. We did a lot of digital things. So I think going back to your question, trying to maintain a sense of calm, and there were different things we did to achieve that, was the biggest challenge. And from there onwards, it was the team that took over, and I'm very proud and happy of the way the team took over and has managed to keep the business afloat.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. So we talk about challenges. Usually when there's challenges, there are opportunities. How do you feel the team have seen opportunities, grabbed opportunities, and made this ordeal into almost a success story for the company? And what was your role in that?
Talking about the challenges and opportunities, the biggest challenge we had, besides maintaining calm, was communication. How do you ensure that you can be as effective and as hopefully efficient in your communication, in your engagements, be it with your team members, be it with your suppliers, customers, and the like. So that was the first problem we tried to address, and I believe pretty swiftly, within a week or so, we put out communication to the team. We spoke to the team. to try and get used to the working with a digital communication platform. At the start, it was Zoom. Later on, we moved into Teams. So meetings, which, I mean, very basic things, meetings which were organized on Outlook, which essentially required you to have a meeting room booked. We now made that through Teams, through Zoom, through Skype. Project teams continued working through digital channels, and a lot of other things, be it with suppliers, customers, banks, even the government has also played a big role in supporting us in this whole process. So we're very thankful to the Dutch government and the way the Dutch government has managed this process, frankly. So communication was the biggest challenge, I would say, from an operational perspective. Again, I'm very confident on the abilities of our team and our team members and the structures we have internally, but trying to ensure there was a communication channel which would as effectively represent the non-digital forms of communication within the company. We try to maintain openness in the interactions we have, be that through a feedback system of whether your idea is good or the approach you want to take is good or bad, etc., etc. So the openness, the transparency, the non-hierarchical way of communicating, working, and engaging in groups, they are all centered around communication. And the biggest challenge for us operationally was to ensure that the communication channel would not, or the communication channels or the communication forms used would not impact the working structure. Business has not been very great, and that is something which everyone would understand. In this period, surgeries have been postponed, a lot of uncertainty on the market. Some countries, most of our business is export, so more than 60% of our business comes from Europe, South of Europe specifically, and with South of Europe, France, Spain, Italy going through different waves and different curfews and lockdowns, it did have an impact on business. Our suppliers were, and of course we have obligations and responsibilities towards our suppliers. Our suppliers have been very cooperative in this process. Our customers have been very cooperative in this process. We've been trying to work together collectively, not only inside, but also with our different stakeholders to try and address this problem together. It's been getting better. New opportunities do come along, and that is what we see is the opportunities in engagement and communication. Again, we've taken a lot of our activities digital. So trainings have gone digital. Our marketing and sales efforts have gone digital. Our recruitment process has gone digital. Support, team meetings, etc. A lot of things have gone digital, and we've got some initiatives lined up a few months down the line, maybe a year or so down the line, which would enhance our utilization of digital platforms for the way we conduct our business.
What's next? What stands out as something of a point of focus, or maybe something renewed?
This situation has basically impressed on a lot of businesses, not only us, I would say, to evaluate the business model and more or less the business structure to deal with a situation where you don't engage with people physically. Now, our business is very much on relationships, be it not only with employees but also with different stakeholders. We are not addressing an industry which is very tech friendly. It's an industry which is a legacy industry. So relationships are built in interactions, be it with a supplier interacting with a customer, or a customer interacting with his customer, and or the surgeon and or the patient. So it's a lot of the fundamentals of this industry is through relationships, through interactions, which invariably are face-to-face interactions. And with a situation like this, it puts a big question mark on how such a model would go forward in situations where these interactions are prohibited or at best restrained. So I think what we are trying to do, or at least what I have been trying to do in the last months, is to assess the suitability of our business model to deal with a situation like this. As I inferred before, we are trying to use more digital, that, for the lack of a better word, digital space, digital ways of working to address a lot of these fundamentals which are crucial for the way we conduct our business and for the industry. So in the next months, we would be spending more time trying to, I wouldn't use the word pivot, but trying to shape our business to be more friendly, to be more suitable to a way of working, which would use technology or the digital means as a complement / as an enhancer. At this point in time, we're using the digital means purely for survival. And I think that's mainly what companies are doing at this stage. But we would like to look at it as an enhancer to our business. In fact, maybe as a driver for our business. And this would have an impact on various levels, on the way of working, the working space, the channels we use for communicating internally as well as externally, the way we support our customers, the way we support our customers, the way we transact purchasing, selling of goods, the business areas that we would focus on, trading versus technologies, the way we indulge with our developmental partners, the role for technology in our business in itself. So there are different facets that I'm in the midst of reviewing, so to speak, together with some of my colleagues to see how we could shape the organization to be better prepared for a situation like this in the future.
So to round off, what are, from a personal level, we're talking very much about the company and you as a leader of a team, managing a team through this. What are your own personal learnings that you take away from these past months?
In terms of personal learning, I think the biggest takeaway is that you do not give in to fear psychosis. That's, I think, in a nutshell. I'm quite contrary. I'm quite a contrarian personally, and for good and for bad reason. Giving in to an approach because 10 other people are doing it, and I think a situation like this calls businesses and calls managers to be able to evaluate situations that come along their way in its own merit. So I think the fact that we didn't just give in, the fact that we didn't just throw in the towel, running around in circles, not only me but as a team, is an indicator that if you're willing to stand and if you're willing to tide the storm, as they would say, more often than not you will make it. So this is stuff which has been a learning not only for me but I think also for our team. And in terms of what this could do for us in the future, and in terms of what I have been surprised with, is our ability to adapt. I must say I have been quite surprised with our ability as a team to adapt quickly, and I don't really refer to our team in Amsterdam, but also our teams in Nijmegen, our teams in India and in Malaysia. The moment we were able to bring in calm, we were able to ensure that communication channels were kept open and as frequent as they could or should be, without compromising on the essence of other things that we do as a company. It automatically brings in a sense of initiative, but also a sense of acceptance. And our ability to adapt to the situation relatively quickly is something that really surprised me. And I hope this is something as a virtue we can carry forward as a company. Agility. I think the biggest message here is if your business is not agile, you need to revisit your structures. And that's what we hope we are, and we hope we will continue to be.
And thank you for sharing sort of your side of this. We do have a strong team, and we have come through some difficult times, some challenging times, but yeah, I'm looking forward to what's ahead of us.
Likewise, excitedly.
Yes.
Thank you, Sandy.